well-educated individual.
What is the significance here, Vern?
Well, that little sign merely points up the fact that today's negotiator must cope with a new emphasis on due process and environmental aspects, sometimes to the detriment of highway progress. Who's that character, Gene?
Well, I'm not sure, but regardless of today's shortages, we still have an abundance of ham, as you can well see there. What are we doing here, Vern?
Well, this is one of Dr. Pyron's exceptional classes for right-of-way personnel. This one is the Management Course 3 recently conducted at Lake Wilderness. Dr. Pyron, a professor at Oregon State, is the author of all of the presently used right-of-way texts. He is very highly regarded in the field of training and has appeared in a number of right-of-way seminars.
They sure look like they're learning, don't they, Vern?
Yeah, that's a good group.
Now, this looks like progress.
Yes, it looks like it all right, but just up the road a little way, trouble is developing. Watch, that sign says, "Stop construction, wild ducks ahead."
Do you mean that they can really stop construction, Vern?
You bet. This actually happened on a section of I-90 just east of North Bend.
What is this, Vern?
Oh, just a typical, up-to-date, right-of-way agent's field office.
Boy, they sure look like typical modern, up-to-date, sophisticated right-of-way agents, don't they?
Why did they put that peculiar dog leg in the highway plan?
Can you spot that little tree in the center of the map? For environmental reasons, the tree was saved. Of course, there may be some minor inconvenience to the owner of the house.
What is Red Shirt doing?
Well, he's going out to try and buy some right-of-way, providing it doesn't have any trees or ducks. He's why all that heavy artillery, Vern.
Well, that's just in case he runs into some more ducks.
What are these men doing, Vern?
Oh, stabilizing the situation.
Mean they're having a trouble there?
No.
And this fella here?
Well, he's explaining that the house is perfectly safe and that the engineers actually have the problem well in hand, in a manner of speaking. In just a few minutes, the right-of-way agent has explained the problem to the landowner and has his hearty consent to the settlement plan.
I understand that the Highway Department requires its agents to always tell the truth. Is that right, Vern?
Oh, yes, certainly, whether it's true or not. Hey, he got so excited he lost his hat. If he isn't careful, he's going to lose the deal, too.
Yeah, there goes the deal. Well, looks like they settled that deal. Truly a professional operation. Oh, there goes the house down the hill, Vern.
No, the engineers will save it. They pushed it back up to the top, and they're now on duty 24 hours a day, stabilizing the hillside.
Say, wouldn't a retaining wall be a lot cheaper?
Well, I suppose it would, but that would require planning.
You mean they don't have too much planning?
Not too much.
Here is a project engineer, evidently, on the way to the planning department to design that retaining wall.
And that is the planning department. As you can plainly see, they are much too busy with more important matters to take the time to design a retaining wall for an unstable hillside. Here are assembled the keen minds that plan our right-of-way projects. With the assistance of some modern scientific aids as the slide rule, they are able to plan ahead sometimes as much as 2 or 3 weeks. The equipment is also useful in computing the odds on filling an inside straight.
What are those odds, Vern?
11 to 1.
You sure about that?
No.
You're not?
'cause I don't try for 'em very often.
I see. Well, it looks to me like he must have filled that straight.
Well, we should know in a minute.
That's getting to be a pretty good pot.
Sure enough, fill it he did. That should be enough money to give the department cash for another 25 feet of freeway.
Is this little progress actually taking place?
Yes, he's after one last house accidentally left standing on this project. It's owned by a little old lady who is holding out for enough to buy herself a new pair of tennis shoes.
Yeah, he's sure pushing that dirt. Is this the new relocation program I've heard so much about, Vern?
Yes, it is. Courteous and personalized, but firm.
Decent, safe, and sanitary. Do you think she is satisfied with the state's offer, Vern?
Oh, I think so, although it was difficult to hear just what the sheriff was saying above her screaming. This is the last house to be acquired, and these two men are the appraisers. They've been sent out to set the fair market value on the property for the state.
They're professional men, are they, Vern?
Oh, yes. You can tell that by the professional manner in which they unroll that tape.
Now, do they rely on that tape entirely, Vern?
Heavens, no. Everything will be double-checked.
Boy, they're really careful, aren't they? Well, sure enough, there they go, double-checking. Looks like they both took their MEI course, too, at the University of Heidelberg. By the way, does the difference in the size of these two men have any influence on their opinion of value?
Well, the fellow in gray came in high and the other fellow low. Does that answer your question?
Well, I guess that's how it works.
Well, every time, unless they get their notes mixed up.
They're really very careful. Now, are they consulting their records and tables?
Yes, actually, they're subtracting the schmoots from the present worth of the future worth.
I guess it's true, isn't it, that I have heard that each appraiser always arrives at his opinion of value independently?
Well, that should be obvious.
Is that a clipboard?
Oh, no, they wouldn't use a clipboard
No, they
for a
couldn't.
highway.
No, they couldn't. Now, who is this here, Vern?
Well, this is the right-of-way negotiator. He's been allowed to look at the appraisals for over 10 minutes. Plenty of time to become acquainted with its details. He's readying himself to make the presentation to the property owner.
Oh, I see. He is dapper and neat, as the department regulations call for it.
Well, I noticed that he's sober today, too.
Well, he's probably a new man on the job. Now, this is the moment of truth.
Not necessarily. Our hero may find himself up against a very determined landowner. In fact, you can readily see that this one is not going to settle, and it did eventually wind up in court.
Well, I can see where these agents don't get paid enough.
Well, here we are in the courtroom where the 12 good men and true have come to impartially weigh the facts.
Is that the bailiff?
Yes?
No. Is that Judge Beaksford?
No, that's Judge Cobley.
Oh, Judge Cobley. Ah, this is an exciting moment. Oh, that judge. Now the jury sits down. Isn't this the appraiser for the state whom we saw working out at the property?
Yes,
I saw that he promised to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. That right, man?
that's the only kind.
Now, is that attorney leading the appraiser to his determination of value?
Yes, he is.
Now, look at that.
He will shortly announce his final opinion of value.
I should take a lot of heavy thinking. Now, there he comes up. Now, that's the state's offer of fair market value, Vern?
Yes, It is his opinion of what the state should pay for the taking. The judge is now swearing in the appraiser for the property owner.
Why, he looks like a real pro.
The property owner's attorney now begins to interrogate the appraiser.
I wouldn't think they'd be too far apart, would they, Vern, those two appraisers?
I don't see how they could be. After all, they're both MAIs.
MAIs. It must be kind of a terrible strain on an appraiser to be interrogated by a real sharp attorney. What would you think, Vern?
Oh, I can see him worrying.
Now, who is that, Vern?
Well, that's the property owner, now broken in spirit and health, being wheeled in by her attorney.
Well, that's kind of an emotionally packed moment. You don't really think that the property owner's attorney, who is a representative of the law, would try to play on the emotions of the judge or the jury, do you, Vern?
Heavens, no.
Well, it looks to me like they're all getting shook up. And now, here comes that appraisal. And this is the fair market value arrived at by the property owner's appraiser?
Right. And as you can see, they aren't too far apart, just a single digit.
Real sad. Now the judge is giving his professional, impartial instructions to the jury, and they will go to the jury room and weigh the evidence in this case.
Right. I am certain they are all aware of their responsibilities, that they must be as fair to the taxpayer who pays the bill as to the property owner whose property is taken.
They're kind of friendly with that owner, I would think.
Oh, you must be imagining it. I'm sure they would.
These are really independent people, I'm sure. Didn't that last juror wink at the property owner, Vern?
Oh, I'm sure not.
Well, the judge is now restoring order at the courtroom. I wonder if one cigar will last that judge throughout the whole trial.
Well, through this kind of a trial, it usually does.
He looks like an old pro, too. What is happening here, Vern?
Well, the jury is returning. They have met out in the jury room for a minute and a half.
A minute and a half? You mean it takes that long?
Oh, yes. Some of these difficult cases require a lot of deliberation.
Well, that property owner certainly has maintained her composure throughout this ordeal, don't you think, Vern?
Yes, a very patient woman. She has been under enormous strain.
Yeah, that's a good-looking jury. And now the bailiff is taking the verdict of the jury. It should be either 10 or 20,000, don't you think?
Yes, one or the other.
Oh, by golly, justice has been done. It certainly seems to have had a favorable effect on the health of our property owner there, don't you think, Vern?
Well, they've made her whole.
Whole plus 25%.
Our impartial judge now steps over to congratulate the jury on a job well done.
Engineers made 47 surveys. They said the road was a-coming through our lot. They'll bring a big steamroller and flatten my two-holer, but that old shack will never be forgot. Someday when I grow old and kind of feeble, some moonlit night